This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, let's get into the Monday Night Raw review here on this Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, with a very eventful Monday Night Raw, one that I don't think a lot of us expected, with the return of Roman Reigns. Big story there. Seth and Cody also have a face-to-face, with Cody mentioning he's there to have fun. Does it get any worse than that? Oh, yeah, I have some things to say, as well as the women who had a big, something big to say on the show here, with Asuka spraying Sky in the face with the mist, and Rhea Ripley getting involved, and Kairi, and the battle lines have been drawn. An Intercontinental Championship match that saw perhaps the official turn of Dom Mysterio to a babyface. Really enjoyed that, as he's bringing out the inner Eddie Guerrero and doing it in a very charming way against Rusev. So I think we might have seen the complete turn there, along with a lot of other stuff. I mean, AJ Styles, by the way, if you didn't know, is going to be facing John Cena at Crown Jewel, so that's going to be a thing. We have certainly a lot to talk about there once Crown Jewel comes to us in just a couple weeks. Less than a couple weeks now, but here we go. If you haven't joined us, by the way, head on over to Patreon and get yourself everything ad-free. Patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Now, let's talk first here. Let's start at the top of the show. All right, I've got some things that I'm guessing you probably, if you've joined me before, know what I'm going to say. But we have Rhea Ripley come out. Huge ovation for her, as expected. And she said she always knew it would come to this with Asuka. And she said she hoped that they could settle things in the ring like the warrior that she thought Asuka was. And Ripley said that what Asuka did to Iyo crossed the line. Ripley said that they would settle things in the ring, and then called out to the Kabuki Warriors to come get her. Iyo Sky came out looking sad with her head down, and Ripley joined Ripley in the ring. And Sky said it broke her heart to say that Ripley was right about Asuka and Kairi, but they are her family. And Sky said she still loves them. The fans booed, and Ripley tried to console Iyo. That's when Asuka and Kairi appear, and subtitles were used while Asuka said she taught Sky everything she knows and now acts like none of it matters. She accused Sky of forgetting about her once she won the Women's World Championship, and Asuka told Sky to apologize to her. Then she could be like Sane and they would remain her students. Sane said they could be a family again. Ripley said Asuka could go to hell, and she told Sky she had to trust her. Asuka and Sane attacked Ripley from behind, and Sky turned to the ring apron to stop them, and Asuka stood behind Sane and sprayed mist at Iyo, and Asuka and Sane then beat down Ripley, and Asuka then put Ripley in a submission hold, and then hit Sane with Ripley. Then Sane hit Ripley with an insane elbow, and that's when referees and producers came out to Sky heading to the first break. Now, I will say, I didn't think this would be the program to open the show, but it did a nice job. Effective. As I said, the battle lines have been drawn. We know where Iyo stands. We know where Kairi stands. We know her loyalties. We know where Asuka is. We know where Ripley is. And it's also, again, nice to see Ripley not in the world title picture, because she seemed like she was there for years. So it's been a nice change for all of the women, and I can't say really anything bad about this. I really can't say anything bad other than one massive botch again, and the women are not having a good streak here, and Asuka is the latest to be compliant in this just embarrassing botch streak for the women, where she the kick she gave Rhea to the back of the head was like 2 feet away. I don't know what's going on. It's almost like it's part of the program where they're like, all right, who's up this week? Who's going to have just a horrific botch this week for the women? Again, I'm not concerned for the women's division, and I'm all for them trying to compete the best they can with the men for TV time, as they should. But this has been a pattern now, and Asuka here, it was a horrific kick. I mean, it was so far away that Ripley didn't even know if she should sell it or not. She kind of half did, and then the announcers, tried to cover for her, and they even, I think by mistake, caught a picture of it on WWE.com when they have their photographers there on their live events and taking pictures, and then they upload them to the site afterwards, like their official pictures. There's a picture of the kick, and the kick is as bad as you'd imagine. You'd think that they would have gotten rid of it, but they haven't. And again, maybe they're not too concerned about it. So again, the botches continue for the women, but the storyline's good, really good. And it's fun to see where this is going to end. It could end with Iyo actually double downing on the, her continued babyface run, or it could end up with her truly seeing the darkness, as they say, and having her join Iyo and Kairi. I'm sorry, join Asuka and Kairi. Could be. Either way, everybody's playing their role very nicely. And Iyo showing some love for Asuka and for Kairi makes sense, that she didn't just turn on them, that she says she still loves them. This is all it's just well done. Well done by all the women. And it's nice when something's not about a championship. How often do you see that in WWE, where, especially for the women, with the limited time that they seemingly get compared to the men, which again, I don't think it should be 50-50. I think you earn your spots no matter what your sex is. But it's nice to see the women not actually talking about a championship. It's actually just personal grudges, personal feuds. I know that the women's world title was brought into conversation, but that's not the focal point here. The focal point is the breakup of the Kabuki Warriors and the battle lines being drawn, where you're likely going to see a tag team match at Crown Jewel of Rhea Ripley and Iyo Sky versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. And man, how can you not see that match as a potential match of the night candidate? Think about the talent involved in that. There's a very high likelihood that's one of the best matches of the night. As long as they're not given 4 minutes, I think they need at least 12, 13, and they could have just a kick-ass match. So, looking for a good pure wrestling match that's not about titles, there you go for Crown Jewel, potentially. Of course, nothing's official as of this moment, I believe. All right, let's continue. We had Dominic Mysterio and Rusev for the Intercontinental Championship. This ended with Dom beating Rusev for the Intercontinental Championship after a really fun matchup here that I think was the final transformation from heel Dom to beloved Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom played that heel role extremely well for the time that it had, because people genuinely hated him. They wouldn't let him talk, remember? Wouldn't let him talk for years on the microphone, which inadvertently hindered, I think, his actual ability to cut promos because the crowd wouldn't let him talk. But you put that aside, and the fans have had enough time to hate him that it's now time to love him. The things that he used to do that you used to hate are now the things you love. He's like this lovable little scoundrel now. How is he going to get out of it tonight? It becomes like a little game. And yes, the homage to Eddie Guerrero certainly doesn't hurt, given, the storyline with him and Eddie and that whole, remember the custody battle from 20 years ago. So there is some precedent here for Eddie Guerrero to be involved or to be reflected through Dom. And I think he's doing it well with the fake hits and the low blow with the leg behind the referee's back and all of that. Plus, Rusev isn't exactly a lovable character right now, so that doesn't hurt either. And people pop big when Dom retained. So you are seeing the complete transformation now of Dom. I hope they don't mess around. Let him be a babyface, for God's sakes. I don't care about the Judgment Day. I don't care what role they're in. The Judgment Day has been completely dead, I think, to rights for a while now, because they're just so boring. And Dominic Mysterio right now is the life of that group, if there is one. And having him as Intercontinental Champion, again, I think it makes sense. So Rusev will continue to probably chase him. I don't think that's the last you've seen of Rusev, especially considering how Rusev lost. He'll go to the general manager, Adam Pearce, and complain and try to politic for another match. He might get it at Crown Jewel. I just hope they don't drop the belt from Dom. I really do. because this could be a little something for Dom here. For all the hatred that the fans have given him over the last 4 years, you could now have him in a position to be a big babyface, a beloved babyface. So we'll see. All right. Let's see here. We have a footage error earlier in the day of LA Knight telling Adam Pearce that he wants a title shot. And Pearce said Knight isn't the only one. Kofi and Xavier showed up and claimed Pearce owed them a world tag title match. And Pearce told the New Day duo to earn it. And Knight took offense to being interrupted and called for a match with Kingston. And Pearce agreed to it. And we had Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins video package air about their match at Crown Jewel in Australia. And Cody Rhodes recalled returning to WWE to face Rollins at WrestleMania. And I won't go through the whole video package here, and then we had footage air of Bayley's personality issues with Lyra Valkyria. And backstage, Bayley wanted Valkyria to join her at ringside, but she was still too upset about Bayley shoving her last week. I mean, this is getting embarrassing. Valkyria told Bayley she was on her own, and then Bayley made her entrance alone and hugged fans. Okay. This is not the only thing I have to say about Lyra, but this one I will continue. This is part one for me of Lyra is what happened to her. She's become this incredibly sensitive, easily offended schoolgirl. She's reverted back to 11 years old or younger. It's embarrassing. You were that hurt from a shove from Bayley. I mean, what story are we telling here? Is it just all about Bayley's multiple personality disorder? Is it about Bayley's identity crisis? What is this? How does this benefit Lyra? We know how this benefits Bayley. She's getting more TV time, and you're trying to see where they're going with it. I don't believe they know where they're going with it, but they're doing something significant with Bayley for the first time in a couple of years. But for more importantly, Lyra, the younger star that needs help. How does it help her to make her look like she is this fragile piece of china that you can't touch too roughly or you'll break it. You have to hold it with care, handle with care. That's not how I want Lyra Valkyria to be. I don't want anyone to be. That's not just Lyra, but Lyra's been the focal point of it. I don't want any of the men, especially the men, any of the women to be acting like small children. Like someone stole their cookie at lunchtime. Like, one of their friends wouldn't play with them at recess. That's how it feels for Lyra. And that's a embarrassing feeling. For all the progress she made with Becky Lynch, despite the fact that program went on too long, and it did, they had good matches for the most part. And she was able to find her identity. Even the announcers were saying this is the best version of Lyra we've seen. It felt like she found her footing. And now they've regressed 4 steps to the point where she feels like, she has her homecoming dance this week. It's so embarrassing. But it gets worse. Don't worry. It gets worse. I'll let you know how in a minute. So we get Bayley and Raquel here. And the finish was Raquel showing frustration over not getting a 3 count from a near fall. And there was a botch spot near the ropes that they made a quick recovery from. Again, continuing the botch for the women is, I don't know what they have some kind of curse on them, some kind of voodoo. I don't know what's going on for the women, but they are not. It's everybody. It's not just this small segment of the same women do it. It's like everybody's been bit by this botch bug. So I don't know what's going on. But Bayley then applied a figure 4 while Barrett noted that they were in Ric Flair country. Perez raked the eyes of Bayley while the ref couldn't see it, and Rodriguez hit a Tejada bomb and pinned Bayley. So Raquel beats Bayley here, and after the match, Barrett noted that Bayley could have used Lyra in her corner, and that's when Raquel and Perez end up beating Bayley. Valkyria comes out, and the heels teamed up on Valkyria and put her down, and then Bayley's demeanor changed. She got up and cleared the heels from the ring, and Bayley turned and looked at Lyra, who was down on the mat and kind of leery, and Bayley laughed and said Valkyria got them, and Bayley pulled Valkyria to her feet and eventually got a high five from her. So the match itself, before I talk about Lyra, the match itself I thought was fine, beyond the botch. It's fine. But then you have the story here of Lyra, and I just told you the things that I don't like about her personality that we're learning, how fragile she is. And the other thing is, and here's where you guys, some of you are just going to, be very somehow pretend offended or whatever, but I'm just calling it like it is. I don't care if truth offends anybody. It's just truth. Truth is just what it is. And if you are offended, then that's your business. Lyra's outfit when she came out, okay, and here's where the women are, oh, your body's shaming, then don't look, oh my God. I'm just calling it like it is. And Lyra's outfit, it looked like she came out of or was about to go to the local nightclub with the little mini skirt. I mean, is this 1999? Why would Lyra come out looking like that, or at least wearing that attire, if you're going to compete in a wrestling ring? What the hell is going on? That was a bad choice of attire. I don't want to hear that, oh, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Also, suddenly appearance in a company that is all about appearances doesn't matter. I'm not allowed to comment on something that I'm seeing, just observing with my own eyes, that she wore an outfit that objectively is a horrible outfit for wrestling, and not only for wrestling. And it was awkward because her outfit was more distracting, because you're like, oh my God, like, does she realize, like, hey, you take a bump on your back and, it's right there, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, and sure, it's not like she was bare ass underneath, but I shouldn't be. And the audience shouldn't be thinking that. It should be about what's going on in the ring. It should be about the wrestlers in the ring, the story. And her outfit was insanely distracting. And I thought it was a bad choice. And it just brought me back to also the late 90s, early 2000s, when how the women were treated by the company. And again, voluntarily, the women were voluntarily doing those things. The women can complain about how they were treated, but again, you are voluntarily employed by a company. No one's chaining your ass to a company, and the women were paid very nicely as well. It's not like, they weren't in slave labor. Okay. So there is that, but from a fan's point of view, the women in the 90s and early 2000s, while they were, recognizable and they were a part of the show because of the demographic that was watching wrestling, they were really relegated to nothing more than glorified sex objects. And it felt very much like I was, that outfit that Lyra wore was, again, it looked very much kind of like that. And I'm a man, so I don't mind. I'm looking at that going, okay, it's nice to look at, but that's a distraction that I don't think should be there when I'm watching women's wrestling anymore. And I can hear it already. Oh, that sounds like a you problem. Okay, if you're a dude and you're a straight dude, you are lying to yourself, or you're pretending to be offended on behalf of somebody else, or you are just trying to virtue signal or whatever you're trying to do. You're simply lying. Like, biology is biology, men are men, and the core demo that watch wrestling is still men. And my point is, I want the women to continue to move forward with wrestling. Okay, wrestling. There, I'll end it there. But some of you, I'm sure, because every time I talk about something like this, it's by some the minority, it seems like, are not happy with it. But I don't know what to tell you. Deep down, I'm right. The way to move women's wrestling ahead is to focus on the wrestling. Okay, and not that Lyra's in some kind of inappropriate storyline, but she just I don't think was thinking when she put her outfit on, like, hey, this is, I'll get attention. But it may not be the attention you want for the reasons you want. Like, men are still men, even if you don't want them to be. Okay. That's the way it goes. And if you are lying if you think otherwise, or you are denying the truth. So, not that my opinions are truth, but the way that men are wired, we all know what that is. And when you're watching wrestling, I don't look at wrestling for that. That's not how I want my wrestling product to be. So, okay, now that I've pissed off a portion of the audience, I'm interested to hear from you on the mailbag. That'll be fun. But let's go. We have backstage Jimmy and Jay talking about walking off, or I'm sorry, backstage Jimmy asked Jay about walking off when he and LA Knight needed his help. And Jay said helping Knight gets them nowhere and made them lose at WrestlePalooza. Jay asked Jimmy why he helped him, and Jimmy said he helped him and would help Jay, who cut him off and said, I said no help. And Jay recalled putting Knight down and said he might be world heavyweight champion if he did more of that. And Jay told Jimmy that's something he wouldn't get. And Jay told Jimmy he loved him and walked away. So kind of building a little tension here. You're still kind of wondering if Jay's going to turn heel. Obviously, we get our answer at the end of the night here. But all right. We have Iyo Sky being treated by the trainers when Kyrie came in, and Sane told Sky that they could still be a family. Sane pleaded with Sky to apologize to Asuka, and Sky yelled at Sane to leave her alone. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen. I hope. Still could happen. I mean, Iyo still could be the foil here. She could be the one that you end up being like, oh my God, she's actually going to team with Iyo, or rather with Kyrie and Asuka. Could still happen. I'm not putting it past WWE to have her turn on Rhea at the potential match for Crown Jewel in Australia. All right, LA Knight versus Kofi Kingston. This match saw LA Knight beat Kofi Kingston after a BFT. Knight ducked Trouble in Paradise and put Kingston away with BFT, and that was kind of it. And that's it. I mean, I don't know what this was supposed to be outside of just giving both of these men airtime and a match, because I don't know what this means for a Knight. More importantly, LA Knight, who has gone from just a consistent main eventer for months now to mid-card random match with Kofi. I wouldn't sound the alarms. You can't have the same people on top all the time. It's not good. Even if they're ultra talented, you can't have them on top all the time for every show. But it does make you wonder, do they have anything in mind for LA Knight, or is this just kind of a placeholder match, week after week that we're going to see? I don't want LA Knight back in a U.S. title picture, but that's on SmackDown. So he and I don't think he's going to chase the Intercontinental title. So they should continue to just kind of, I think, after Crown Jewel, put him back in the world title picture. I hope they do. Because yes, right now it's all about Cody and Seth and their match at Crown Jewel for a meaningless made-up championship. But you should put LA Knight back in after. And if I'm okay with, and I think you guys should take note of this is just my 2 cents, as this whole show is, that if LA Knight does essentially nothing the next couple weeks leading into the Crown Jewel event, don't be too worried. I mean, we have world champions left off of PLEs all the time. Major stars left off of PLEs all the time. And this would give LA Knight a little bit of a backseat for a couple weeks, just kind of putzing around, having random matches, winning matches, and then he'll be jolted back into the world title picture after Crown Jewel. Kind of seems where I think they're probably going to go. All right. We then get some Akira Tozawa Maxine stuff. I'm sorry, I don't care that much. Let's see here. We had Becky Lynch approach her husband, and Seth, obviously, who asked if she was feeling better, and she said a little. Lynch asked Rollins how he was feeling, and he said, we'll see. And she asked if he wanted her or Heyman to join him, but he said he had to do it on his own. And that's when Seth comes out, and OTC chants broke out. Rollins acknowledged he's 0-3 against Cody. He said it doesn't matter. He said the winner of their match at Crown Jewel wouldn't just win the Crown Jewel Championship, but the winner might decide the future of the industry for the next 10 to 20 years. Okay. Couple good and bad things here on that first opening monologue from Seth. Number one, I like the fact that they're acknowledging that these two have had 3 previous matches in which Rollins is 0-3 against Cody. I like when they bring those things up because it should matter. And it does, and I'm glad they brought it up. So kudos on that line. I know it's a small thing, but it's important that history matters. and outcomes should matter. That's good. Now the next part is just, I think it's not my favorite. I don't like it, but it's Rollins just doing his due diligence to sell the match. That's his job. And I cannot faulting him for it, but for him to say he wouldn't just win the Crown Jewel Championship, which again means less than nothing. He said it, this match might decide the future of the industry for the next 10 to 20 years. Really? How? It's an exhibition match with a invented championship on the line that no one cares about at all. No one. It has no meaning. There's nothing on the line. And I know that Crown Jewel is supposed to be the event that WWE, treats like WrestleMania because of how much money is on the line, and they have a business to run. But come on. I mean, this is really, how does this match decide the future of the industry? In what way? What effect does this have on the entire industry for the next 2 decades, Seth? I'm not hammering Seth. He's trying to sell the match. I'm just being a jerk. But sometimes you look at these promos when they're written down and you're like, what? Because it sounds good when you're trying to sell the match. You're like, oh, okay, I'll follow along. But when you read it, like I just did, it's like, what are you talking about? But let's continue. So Rollins said there are actually some people who want Cody to win. He said he will be the person to lead the company into the future. And he's done right by staying with the company and pushing it into the golden age. He said he took Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed under his wing so he could give them knowledge. And he said he sacrificed everything by trying to rid the company of cancers such as Reigns and Punk. Yet the fans still chant for Cody. And that's when Cody comes out. And he recalled the Rollins on the nonsense of claiming they were fighting for the future of the industry. I'll give Cody credit on this. I mean, he said it seems a bit much. He said the fans have all the control. Yeah, the just stomach churning pandering that Cody does. It gets worse. But I'll give Cody credit there. Whoever came up with that line was good too. It is a bit much. You think that this match that is an exhibition match, again, with an invented championship, is somehow going to affect the future of the industry? I can guarantee you after this match that they just go their separate ways and don't even interact for the next 12 months. All right, so that was a good one. But Cody mentioned that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed showed up on SmackDown and wondered if that was Rollins or a Paul Heyman call. Rollins said every decision runs through him, and Cody asked if it was Seth's call to have Heyman introduce Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza. Rollins repeated that everything runs through him, and Cody said he thought that Rollins was his friend after they teamed up at WrestleMania 40. Rollins told him to shut up, and he said he never was his friend, and said that that they had what they had was a means to an end, and he said Cody was the lesser of two evils. That was good. He said everything that happened between them was dead. He could write a new future at Crown Jewel, and he is the only person who will lead his division. And Rollins exited the ring. Okay. Good stuff here from Cody. Now, I will say the line that's not mentioned in this review that I have particular issue with is Cody telling Rollins that they're to basically calm down and that we're here, the fans and I are here to have fun. I mean, you gotta be shitting me. Like, you're telling me that the WWE Undisputed Champion is coming to Raw to have fun. Oh, is that why you're here? You're gonna go down the slide and maybe hit some monkey bars and jump into a big pit of balls. Is that why you're here, Cody? I mean, John Cena has done this before too, and I've called him out on it. This isn't just a Cody thing, although because it's him, I hate it more. I've heard this before from baby faces. Oh, we're here to have fun. Let's have fun. No. In fact, the reason not that everything needs to be 100% dead serious all the time, but you can't come to Raw with a champion versus champion match. One side declared that this match could determine the future of the industry, which of course is preposterous, and it was called out. And the other side say they're there to just have fun. I mean, you talk about polar opposites. And I despise it. I despise when you have any champion or non-champions as babyface talk about just there to have fun. I mean, then what are you doing here? You could have fun in a lot of other professions. Don't come into pro wrestling and talk about just having fun. The fans are there to have fun, but it's something you just don't talk about. And are the wrestlers actually having fun? Yes. As human beings on a real level, of course they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. I'm sure they're loving it, having a ball, back and forth, tit for tat, wrestling. You have to love it and have fun, or you wouldn't be there. But you don't say that. It's one of those fourth wall things that's just like, dude, shut up. No. It's one of those byproducts. It's like when wrestlers talk about making history, we're going to tear the house down. Again, you don't talk about byproducts. Those are the effects of a match or a promo or your presence there. Those are the things that happen that you don't speak about that we all know are there. But if you bring them up overtly, it ruins the moment and actually undermines what the sport is all about. I hate that shit. And yes, I've made this show a little bit more TV-14 if you haven't noticed. So sorry if you have kids, my bad. Maybe from here on out, here's what I'd recommend. All right. Because lately I've just, I gotta, there's some 4-letter words and not the F word. I'll reserve that for after dark. Just like sometimes it's the only way it can come out. Sometimes it's the only way it can come out. Otherwise I'm not doing it a service. So real mature of me, I know. So let's continue. We have backstage Rhea Ripley approached Iyo and asked if she was okay. Sky said no, then told Ripley she was right about Asuka, and she said that she and Ripley would team to face the Kabuki Warriors at Crown Jewel. Again, so this is official. I must have missed this segment. I'm reading it now because earlier in the night I said, oh, it's not official. It is. Okay, well, that makes sense. I missed this somehow. But all right. AJ Styles made his entrance for the tag team match here with himself and Dragon Lee taking on Los Americanos, Bravo and Rayo, with El Grande Americano. The match ended with AJ and Dragon Lee beating Los Americanos, with Styles hitting Bravo with a Styles clash, got the victory. That makes sense. You can't have AJ Styles on the losing side of anything. He's going into a match with John Cena, one of John Cena's final matches. And it is confirmed, as we all know, that December 13th at Saturday Night's Main Event in Washington, D.C. is John Cena's final match. Of course, we all want to know who it is. We don't know. We don't know. It could be Brock Lesnar. I hope it's not Brock Lesnar. I hope it's not anybody he's already faced. I hope it's not Randy Orton. We've been there, done that. You know my pick. You know my pick. It better be Edge somehow. But anyway, yeah, with this, I mean, this match was good, short. You kind of knew what you're going to get, but AJ Styles should win here as he's going into a major match in just a couple of weeks. All right, so next week, we had Tessator remind us that Raw is in Dallas. It starts at 8 o'clock Central Time, and we have, for next week, CM Punk returning. We have Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch taking on Maxine Dupree, and Lyra versus Roxanne Perez if, of course, Lyra is mentally and emotionally available to do so, and she's not a broken shell of herself, crying in the corner of a locker room somewhere backstage. Alrighty. Yes, I'm being a jerk because it's deserving. It's deserving. Not that Lyra's actually like that as a person, but the presentation of her character is horrific right now, I think. So backstage, we had women's world champion Stephanie Vaquer, who said she respects the women's champion Tiffany Stratton, but she'll beat her at Crown Jewel. And then Stratton showed up and in her extremely just unlikable style said it's going to remain Tiffy time. And Vaquer told her that her time is over. And Stratton said La Primera will have to get used to coming in second. Not much of a promo here. Kind of your standard, I'm going to beat you. No, I'm going to beat you. No, you're not going to beat me. I'm going to beat you. That's all this was. It's fine. There's not much to really build here. There's nothing on the line. Once again, absolutely nothing. I actually don't like that they do this. just as a concept, put champion versus champion. That should be something reserved for WrestleMania, but we've all come to just accept the fact that Crown Jewel now is this event that that a lot of large checks will be written for people that shouldn't come out of retirement to appear, for matchups that shouldn't happen, for people that nearly kill themselves. Goldberg and Undertaker is the one I'm thinking of there. And having champion versus champion. Why? I don't know. That, again, I don't think people realize how big that could be if you had champion versus champion. But it's just something that just haphazardly happens because it's on the calendar. And the calendar dictates what happens. The calendar should never dictate what the matches are. Ever. Not to say Royal Rumble is, of course, in January. We know the match. But it should never dictate in a singles capacity who faces who. Ever. Never. Because, or a match type specifically. Match type is probably a better way to put it, because WrestleMania is always going to be the Royal Rumble winner versus the champion. So the match type should never be dictated by the calendar. And how many times we see that happen? Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber. Although most people do love the Chamber. I don't think match type should ever be dictated by the PLE. But what do I know? Okay, we have a matchup here where Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in a tornado tag team match. And match was good, kind of long, with Jimmy and Jey beating Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And let's see here. We had, I was trying to find the point where Roman Reigns came in. Okay, so Jey was fighting both heels coming out of the break. Breaker and Reed got the better of the Usos, and he stacked the Usos. Breaker stacked the Usos so Reed could hit both of them with a tsunami. And that's when Roman Reigns' entrance music hits. He's got a chair in hand. He clears Breaker. He clears Reed. He hit everybody with like 40 chair shots. And boy, I will continue to say this. I miss chair shots to the head. From a sick, disgusting, selfish position, I miss chair shots to the head. I'll continue to say it. If there was a safe way, if there was, and I know it's a conflict of possibility. I mean, you can't unless you have a worked chair that's not made out of steel. If you somehow had a material that the chair could be made out of that felt like and looked like and sounded like steel, but it was totally safe to hit somebody in the head with, if that material existed on Earth, if that was an element on the periodic table, I would suggest that those chairs be made out of it, but I don't think it does. And therefore, of course, I'm not advocating for people to get concussions at my own entertainment, but what I am advocating for is just from a purely visual perspective, I miss chair shots to the head. You do too. Yes, I'm telling you what you miss because you know that it's a timeless tradition in pro wrestling, or it used to be. Chair shots to the head when deserving. And now, when someone comes out with a chair, half of the excitement's taken away because you know exactly where they're going to hit them. That's it. There's no other place. It takes a lot of the fun out of what a chair shot to the head used to mean. It used to mean like sometimes color, blood. It used to mean knocking somebody out instantly. Now you have to hit them in the back 64 times for them to go down. And I just miss it. I miss it so much that I wish we could bring them back in a safe way. Anyway, so we had Breaker hit Reigns. He fought him off quickly. The fans chanted for Roman. And in the ring, Jimmy super kicked Breaker, and then Jey speared Breaker, and the Usos went up top in opposite corners and hit a double Uso splash. Jey covered Breaker and got the 3 count. And after the match, Reigns entered the ring and hit Breaker with the chair, and Breaker went out to the ring, outside the ring, and everybody shook hands. Jey shook hands with Reigns, and that was that. But Jimmy did watch and didn't look pleased. So, I mean, I don't need I don't know why this is even a thing. There should be no more conflict, no more civil war, no more intra-family conflict with the Usos and Reigns. Stop it. It's not interesting. It died years ago. Jimmy and Jay fighting was one of the worst WrestleMania matches I've seen. It was horrible. And that's weird to say about two guys who have just contributed so much to the business, particularly in the tag team division, but working against each other, even as brothers. It was horrific. And we've seen all combinations of Reigns and Jimmy and Roman, and Reigns and Roman and Jimmy and Sammy when he was there. We've seen it all. We don't need anybody turning. No one should be dissatisfied with anything. Just stop it. That is not an interesting storyline anymore at all. So if Jimmy turns on somebody, you talk about a snooze fest. And that should not happen because Jimmy is the one that came out in terms of the totem pole of stardom, came out at the bottom of the rung from the OG storyline. He had his moments, especially early on, Big Jim and all that. But generally, it's kind of just fact to say that Jimmy Uso was the least beneficial coming out of that whole story. Especially compared to his brother, of course, and Sammy, and hell, even the storyline going on now with the spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff of the OG of the bloodline with Solo Sikoa and his group, and Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, all the rest. JC Mateo. Still, I think Jimmy Uso is he's like the redheaded stepchild. He's kind of the forgotten one. So Jimmy turning on anybody would do no favors for him at all. He does not need to be alienated, singled out, unless there's some mega storyline that I'm not privy to, which is very possible. Jimmy Uso should just stick with the damn group. I don't need anybody making faces and not satisfied and not pleased. Stop it. Just keep them together. It's fine. They'll fight off the vision. So I don't want anybody turning on anybody at Crown Jewel, Jimmy, laying Roman out and standing there. No. Please. So if that's where they're going, count me out. I want out. If that's not where they're going, I still don't want to see Jimmy making faces and that he's displeased at this. Alrighty. So a lot of complaining tonight, guys. A lot of complaining, although I did have a lot of good stuff to say too. I really did. And because there's some good stuff going on. We've got some big matches coming up for the next PLE at Crown Jewel in under 2 weeks. And I hope you'll join me over at the WWE Podcast on Patreon to go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. As I mentioned, good place to go if you want everything ad-free. Same as Apple Podcasts. There's that subscribe button. It's right in the app if you want to go ad-free. Both offer 1 week for free. If you just want to try it, you're like, I don't know. Check it out. Go listen to what ad-free is like. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. All right, everybody. That'll do it for me. I got to go watch. I think the Yankees are losing to the Red Sox, which is, not surprising because the Yankees cannot beat good teams. I said that yesterday. If you follow any kind of, commentary I do on anything outside of wrestling, with sports and Yankees fan, but the Red Sox, as I speak right now, the Red Sox are up 3-1, bottom of the ninth. Look, bases loaded, 1 out. Jazz Chisholm at the plate. Oh my. Oh God. So I chose to tune in at quite the interesting time here. A base hit would tie the game, but also a base or a ground ball could end the game. And right now he's, of course, by the time you're listening to this, we all know the outcome. Jazz Chisholm is down 0-2. He's down 0-2 in the count. 2 strikes, no balls, bases loaded, 1 out. Good Lord. Okay, I can't watch. That'll do it for me, everybody. I didn't mean to turn this into a baseball commentary, but it is the playoffs, so there is that. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.